Hi, welcome back to La Belle Vie. So just a quick update on the Sarah Boone case. The court had the hearing this morning on Mr. Bankowitz, Sarah's lawyer's motion to withdraw, which the court did grant. The state had no comment, and so Sarah now has another lawyer. Her new lawyer's name is Winston Hobson. I did a quick search. There is a Winston Hobson in the Orlando area. If this is the correct person, he's been a member of the Florida Bar in good standing since 2001 and also is licensed to practice in New York. So let's just hope this one works. Okay, a couple of other updates for the pretrial hearing before I conclude with some comments that the judge had for Sarah. First of all, the JAC motion, you'll recall that's the motion that Mr. Bankowitz had filed for additional funding for a new forensic psychologist, specifically one that would specialize in domestic violence issues. Understandably, Judge Wooten stayed that motion for now because obviously that's going to be up for her new attorney to decide where they want to go with respect to that. So that made sense. Judge Wooten also set a final pretrial conference for November 28th with trial to set December 11th. There is going to be the next hearing, which will be on October 30th, and by then we should know more about how the relationship is going between Sarah and Mr. Hobson and how realistic a December trial will be. I don't know. I think there's a lot to do to get up to speed. I would be surprised if we have a trial in December, but you never know. Okay, so at the end of the hearing, Judge Wooten had some words with Sarah, and I was glad to see this because I do think at some point the court needs to start addressing on the record these letters that are coming about. So this coverage is from the local Fox station, which I will include below. So shout out to them. I'm going to go ahead and insert that now.
Now, Ms. Boone, in just a minute, they're going to take you back to the Orange County Jail. I'm going to suggest that you talk to Mr. Hobson about the various other issues you raised in your letter dated August 30th, 2023. One other thing I want to talk to you about, we had this conversation once in the past. Clearly, your working relationship with Mr. Bankowitz was such that it deteriorated to the point where the two of y'all just couldn't work together to defend your case. So I'm not going to try to referee how that played out, why that unfolded the way it did. But one thing I want to caution you about, if this becomes a problem on another court-appointed attorney, I'm going to look more closely at what the alleged disputes are. You have a right to a court-appointed lawyer. There are certain decisions a defendant gets to make in the defense of their case that are absolutely theirs, such as whether they go to trial or not, such as whether they testify or not. But there are many decisions in a case that a lawyer gets to make. And while you certainly have a right to consult with your lawyer and discuss with your lawyer, they don't automatically just do whatever you say. They use their professional judgment and experience and look at the evidence, look at the law, and do the best they can. Also, you've got court-appointed counsel. As I've explained to you before, court-appointed counsel rarely have the luxury of representing one person and only having one case to focus on. I have concerns that your expectations of what any court-appointed counsel might do as far as spending time with you and the depth and degree of communication may be unrealistic expectations. You always have the right to retain a lawyer to represent you, and then that's between you and that lawyer. You can demand whatever expectations that you have as part of that agreement. But when it's a court-appointed lawyer, you have to accept and understand that they have other cases, other courtrooms, other responsibilities. And I'm cognizant of that when I'm addressing these types of issues about communication. So that's just food for thought, nothing to do today. I don't need a response from you. I just wanted to make sure you were aware of that and were thinking about that as we proceeded forward. So again, the court minutes reflect that court continuing pretrial. I have granted the motion to withdraw. I have appointed Mr. Hobson to represent the defendant, and I'm taking no action on the motion, the ex parte motion for cost directed where GAC is responding. Ms. Boone will be returned to the Orange County Jail pending disposition of her case.
Thank you, Judge.
All right.
I'm not able to say anything.
That's his information.
Okay, what are my takeaways? So first, I thought that the judge's cadence and tone was appropriate. I thought he was serious but not overly stern, and I liked that he ended his comments to Sarah by saying that this is food for thought, and hopefully she'll take some of those comments seriously. I don't know. She wanted to say something at the very end, and I don't know if you saw caught at the end. The judge said no, so I'm sure she's not going to be happy with not being able to say anything. But in any event, hopefully this new relationship will work out. But I liked that he started to address this on the record, because I think we need to start having these letters, the court's response being on the record. Okay, my second takeaway was he referenced a conversation he had had previously with Sarah. And he didn't go into much details, but what I gathered from that was it probably was a conversation he had with her around the time that Mr. Padilla was filing his motions to withdraw. And the reason I think that is because then he started talking about the fact that, look, I get it. There's irreconcilable differences that have occurred now with Mr. Bankowitz, but you have a court-appointed attorney, and if I start seeing these issues again, I'm going to need to start looking a little more into it to kind of see what's behind some of these differences that are occurring with counsel. So I think that was appropriate for him to do. Okay, so my next takeaway was I liked how the judge tried to describe to Sarah, there are things that the defendant gets to decide always, like whether you plea, whether you go to trial, whether you're going to testify. But there are things that the lawyer gets to decide. Things like legal strategy, whether to file certain motions, things a lawyer needs to decide based on their professional judgment. And I'm glad that he said that, because I think that's something that we all kind of have some confusion with Sarah is she not understanding kind of how some of these legal issues work? I mean, a good example is, her understanding of how public records and the court system works and, public access. So anyway, hopefully this new lawyer, they'll have a good working relationship. So some of those issues where, this is the things for the defendant to decide, and these are really more things you need to listen to the lawyer. I thought that was helpful. The next takeaway I thought was good was he reiterated that she has court-appointed counsel, and there are differences between having a court-appointed counsel who have lots of cases on their plate and, a private lawyer, which, by the way, private lawyers have a lot of cases on their plate too. But his point was when you have a court-appointed counsel, they're busy and there's only so much they can do. You can always go hire a private lawyer, and that's up for you guys to decide contractually how that relationship works out. But I'm concerned with respect to the court-appointed lawyer that you might have some unrealistic expectations on the amount of time that someone that is in that court-appointed role can attend to your specific case or any one defendant's specific case. Now, again, he kind of said, look, there's no decisions that need to be made. This is just food for thought. Whether that gets through, I don't know. Like I said, my takeaway is I'm really hoping this next lawyer and her have a working relationship because, again, everyone just wants, the trial to move forward. Obviously, she's entitled to adequate representation. So everyone hopes this one's going to go well. But anyway, I'll link my Sarah Boone playlist in case you want to check out some of my videos. I did a fun, if you've been a fan of my traveling tours with the Markel case, I did one for Sarah Boone. So you want to check that one out. It was kind of fun. And in the meantime, thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in my next one. Bye.